Hey, Lisa Menendez here with Coldwell Banker Premier Group. So many people today are wondering, is the housing market headed for a crash? Is the sky falling, right? Well, 67% of Americans say a housing market crash is imminent in the next 3 years. So with all the talk about in the media today about the shifts in the housing market and what's going on, it makes sense why so many people do feel that way, right? But there's good news. Current data shows that today's market is nothing like it was before the housing crash in 2008. See, back then, the mortgage standards were way less strict, and during the lead up to the housing crisis, it was much easier to get a home loan than it is today, right? Banks were creating artificial demand by lowering lending standards and making it easy for just about anyone, well, not everyone, but just about anyone, to qualify for a home loan or refinance an existing one, right? As a result, lending institutions took on much greater risk in both the person and the mortgage products that were being offered at the time, right? That led to mass defaults, foreclosures, and falling prices. So today's things are way different, and purchasers face much higher standards from the mortgage companies. Things are different today compared to the spike in credit availability leading up to the crash. Tighter lending standards have helped prevent a situation that could lead to a wave of foreclosures like the last time. Another difference is the number of homeowners that were facing foreclosure when the housing bubble burst. Foreclosure activity has been lower since the crash, largely because buyers today are more qualified and less likely to default on their loans. So even with the foreclosures on the uptick now, the total number is still very low. And on top of that, most experts don't expect foreclosures to go up drastically like they did following the crash in 2008. The impact that a large increase in foreclosures had on home prices back then is unlikely this time. The bottom line is there will be an increase in foreclosures, guarantee that, over the next year because of the record lows. But there will not be a huge wave of distressed sales as happened following the housing bubble. So the distressed sales during the housing bust led to cascading prices and declines, and that is predicted not to happen this time. So the supply of the homes for sale today is more limited but for historical context, there were too many homes for sale during the housing crisis, many of which were short sales and foreclosures, and that caused prices to fall dramatically. Supply has increased since the start of this year, but there's still a shortage of inventory available overall, primarily due to years of underbuilding homes. Today, unsold inventory sits at just 2.7 months supply at the current sales pace, which is significantly lower than the last time. There just isn't enough inventory on the market for home prices to come crashing down like they did last time, even though some overheated markets may experience slight declines. Bottom line, if recent headlines have you worried we're headed for another housing crash, the data we've discussed should help ease those fears today. Expert insights and the most current data clearly shows that today's market is nothing like it was last time. So thanks so much for joining me today. My name is Lisa Menendez, Coldwell Banker Premier Group. Thanks. Have a good one.